I'm back with another 12 days of whiskey. Today is day 6, and I brought along some friends. You guys know Jason, the head bum in charge, and we also brought along Cousin John. The Bumcast knows him as Cousin John. The whiskey community knows him as the Dram Daddy. Welcome, guys.
Hey.
What's up, fellas? Happy holidays.
Jason, does
Merry
it feel
Christmas.
weird to be in the passenger seat?
It does. I mean, I like riding shotgun every now and then, but I'm most used to driving all the time. So,
All right. So
sit back and
today,
enjoy the show.
Instead of doing a whiskey review, I thought the whiskey community, especially on whiskey YouTube, does this 5 bottles you need. I've seen it trending for like the last year and a half. Everyone, the Bourbon Junkies has done it. ADHD Whiskey have done it. If you're on YouTube and you review whiskey, you kind of do one of these 5 bottles you need. So I thought what's the perfect time to bring along some friends and figure out what are your 5 bottles you need. The first one, first question, what is your daily drinker? I'll go Jason first.
I have everything for me as a daily drinker. So I have over 100 bottles in the house right now, and I can't decide on which I'm going to drink. So I have a randomizer app that randomly picks a bourbon for me to drink every day. So everything's a daily drinker.
I like that. I do like that. I usually go ahead. So, all right. So what are you drinking today then?
So I'll just go to the last bottle that it picked for me, which is this Blanton's store pick from Binny's.
Starting off hot.
Yeah. So that was the most recent bottle that the randomizer selected. But yeah, I can't really decide. Like I don't really have a daily drinker. I like everything. So.
All right. Hopefully a little more down the line answer. John, what is your daily drinker?
Yeah. So, I was kind of talking to you before the show. Like it's hard because, I'm steadily building my collection now and I'm trying a lot of new stuff. And, I just did inventory yesterday. I've got over 80 plus bottles now. So I'm slowly getting there, but, I think it's so hard with all these new bottles. Like it's hard to have like something that I drink every single day. But I think one that I tend to go back to, like if I'm just kind of in the mood to just have something quick, something go to, I guess. I have my good old trusty Old Forester 1920 here.
Yep.
I'm going to disappoint you, Peter. Actually, this is probably the highest proof one I think I have on my list today. But 115 proof, just really smooth. A lot of rich flavors, good char, just really solid go-to.
We talked about, or at least I talked about it on a previous one of these, that Old Forester is so good at what they do. The 1910 and 1920 are both bottles that I recommend to everyone. And yeah, I remember you drinking 1920 early on, like one of our first Bumcasts together. That's what you had. My daily drinker is, it's not a surprise. I did my second video on it. I talk about it all the time. $35 Redwood Empire. You just can't go wrong with it. Whenever I'm recording the Bumcast and I don't have anything fancy or special, it's usually my go-to. It's bourbon, it's rye, it's everything I like, and it's $35. So I don't feel bad, going crazy. We can't all drink Blanton's as our daily drinker, Jason.
It's also in my decanter as well. So this is a store pick I just most recently got, but I also have a decanter full of Blanton's as well. So I go full tater. When Sarah's like, can I just drink something that you don't want me to touch? And I said, just grab from the decanter. It's just Blanton's. So I guess that's my everyday drinker, but it's what's in our decanter. So,
all right. The next question is, what is your mixer? If you're making, old fashioned Manhattan, maybe a little fancier if you're Jason, because you go crazy with the cocktails. I don't do much mixed drinks, to tell you the truth. I rarely ever make an old fashioned or Manhattan. So my answer is going to be pretty basic. But you guys, what is your mixer? What is your go-to whiskey? I'll start with Jason.
Go ahead, John.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll go. I actually just ran into this, and I know I just posted about this recently. This is Jay Reiger's Kansas City Rye Whiskey. Pretty easy to find. It's only $35. It's actually pretty sweet for a rye, which, I'm a big old-fashioned drinker, so if you're doing a traditional old-fashioned, it should be rye. But it actually is a little bit sweeter for a rye. And it's probably one of my favorites for that cocktail right now.
Cool.
Jason?
My Blanton's Gold is my mixer. Nah, I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, what is happening here? I was about to drop you from the screen. I'm like,
every answer is going to be No.
My,
Um,
my
so-
the first 5 days of whiskey, the 12 days of whiskey, I've been like budget friendly and bottles people could find, and then here comes Jason over the top with plans for everything.
Blanton's. No. So some of you guys know that I used to bartend, and I like to get a little creative with my cocktails. So my mixer, and I actually don't have a bottle of it right now because I used it, but it's actually in this jar. It's Buffalo Trace infused with rosemary. So my mixer is usually some kind of infusion. And if I'm doing an old fashioned, it'll either be Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, or Old Forester, little 1920. But when I want to experiment, it's just regular Buffalo Trace. So right now I have 2 infusions going. This is rosemary, and I have another one that I did with pecan and nutmeg. That one's very good, little nuttiness, and very, very good with some nice flavored bitters and a nice flavored simple syrup. But I also used to try with Templeton Rye, the 4-year, and that didn't really come out so good with the infusion. So I had to go back to good old Buffalo Trace because I feel like it's just a good bourbon that will mix well with different fruits and vegetables and everything and herbs.
And I'm right there with you. So the Buffalo Trace is something I typically do if I'm doing an old fashioned or rye, but I'm going with Sazerac. So John, like you mentioned, a rye usually is what I'll be doing if I decide to do a old fashioned or a Manhattan, stuff like that. And I feel like the Sazerac rye, it's available at Jewel. It's sweet and it mixes well with anything I'm doing. So I'm not going too crazy. Like I said, it's very rare that I do it. Whenever I do it, I go to Jason's house and have him make me drinks.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
The next bottle, the bottle you're bringing to a party. So the way I thought about this was a party that's not, all of our whiskey friends or anything like that. It's just a casual party, maybe a family party. People of various levels of whiskey drinking are there. What would you bring to that party? I'll start with John.
Yeah, so I actually just went very simple. Four Roses single barrel, I think, is a very solid bottle, especially for the price. I mean, you get it about $45, $50. Not hard to find. I think it's just a very balanced bourbon, very smooth. So definitely, I would go with Four Roses single barrel.
Jake.
It depends who I'm going to. Like, if it's a party where it could be a potential lot of bourbon drinkers, I'll actually bring Redwood Empire because I think for the price point, if you're bringing a gift or you're bringing some more booze and you just want something to sip on, Redwood Empire is a great one. I brought that numerous times. But if I'm going to a party where I know there's going to be bourbon drinkers around, you guys know it's no secret of mine. It's anything Bardstown, and I'll just grab one of the most recent Fusion bottles, $60, and most people haven't had this, one of the different, if they had it before, they might not have had all of the different blends. Anything Bardstown like Fusion is, if I'm going to like a nice party with some other whiskey drinkers, I'll bring that bottle.
Yeah, it's a good call because it's it draws attention to both the whiskey drinkers or someone casual. Bardstown's like the hip new brand on the block, if you will.
Yeah.
And the Fusion's a great call. So I feel like we're going tater heavy on this, and it wasn't by any it wasn't by design, but I purposely haven't talked about Buffalo Trace products in the first 6 days or so, but now we're going. So I'm bringing E.H. Taylor small batch. That's usually what I bring to my grandma's house or my uncle's having a barbecue and stuff like that, because I know whiskey drinkers will appreciate it, but also the casuals. The tube is different. It's cool. Like if I'm gifting it, it's a perfect bottle to gift, especially if you're paying MSRP for it. I'm not buying it for anything more than if I find it at Jewel, I'll buy one or buy two. I usually have some like saved up to purposely bring to, Thanksgiving or different things like that. So I feel like the tube itself and just the juice itself really calls to both the average whiskey drinker and more veteran whiskey drinkers, if you will. But now we'll switch over. What is the bottle you're bringing to drink with your whiskey friends? I'll start with Jason.
All right. So you guys know we try to do some like bourbon tastings every now and then, and we've done the Elijah Craig tasting where we've went through all of ours. And this is one that I love doing because they come out pretty frequently throughout the year, and each batch is different, and it's fun to taste each one. It's Booker's.
There you go.
And this is the most recent one that I got the other day. This is Pinky's batch, but the Lumberyard and Noel's tea, I think it is. Those were also very, very good.
No, Kentucky tea.
Kentucky tea, yes, sorry. No, I think Noel was like the first. Noel's batch or something was like the first of the year. I can't remember.
No strangers batch.
Thank you.
It's the Rolodex is moving. It's getting late.
But anyways,
it's getting sleepy. But
anyways, Booker's is always my go-to for whiskey drinkers. It's high proof. They're always in the 120, 130 ish range. And when you get to do a little tasting of their batches throughout the year, it's always nice to do that with some friends.
John, what do you got? What do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm actually. I mean, you both have this. I know of it, but I'm gonna go with a Midwinter's Night Dram. I think it's just a really great like blended rye whiskey. I like the blend. You know, when they blend actual like whiskeys together, I think it's pretty interesting. Got a lot of complex flavors. So, it's a little bit more of a pricey bottle. So I think to your point, the whiskey drinker that is appreciative of good whiskey would appreciate that kind of bottle. So it's maybe not going to be like your showstopper Stag or Sazerac 18 or something like that or 17. But I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with Midwinter's Night Dram.
Yeah. And when I text you guys the questions ahead of time, and then I gave you my answers, so we didn't have any repeat answers and stuff like that. I did say the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof because, like Jason mentioned, whenever we do our whiskey, meetups and stuff like that, it's a bottle that's, usually, it's out 3 times a year. So it's easy to find or easier to find than anything. But I actually changed my answer, and I'm just bringing store picks that like people can't find or people don't like usually find because you guys would appreciate it. So I've got a red line pick from the Adventurers Club, the Whiskey Society in Chicago. I just picked this up yesterday. Shout out to TJ because that sat in his house for 6 months. I probably should have picked it up earlier. I was just busy and lazy and didn't get out that way. But so it's any sort of pick. I feel like, especially with your whiskey friends, it's like, oh yeah, where'd you get this pick from? Or I tried Benny's pick, and oh no, I've got the 7 Guys pick. Jason, we've done it a bunch of times where we compare same bottles of same picks, but obviously they're 2 completely different flavors because the 2 people or 2 groups picked widely different things. So it's always fun. And then the final question is, what is your special occasions bottle? What is the stuff you're saving for, once or twice a year or when that real special occasion happens? I'm going to start with John.
I am going to go with this bottle I just found, and I was actually found it at a good price. Is Baumburgers. So, love Michter's, love everything that they do. But Baumburgers Declaration, I've already cracked it open once. It was so good that I don't want to crack it open again for a while because I want to slow sip this one. But that is definitely more of a special occasion for me too, and it's the 2022 release as well.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I know Jason. Shout out Jason. You got me my Shanks, which is, like the sister of the Baumburgers. And you kept the Baumburgers for yourself, right?
I did.
I haven't had it yet. So I got to come over and try
the Baumburger. Oh, okay.
I haven't tried the Baumburgers. I had the Shanks.
Oh, we did it the tasting at Michter's.
Oh, that's true. I did it in Kentucky. I haven't had your bottle yet.
Yeah.
That's a good point. All right. What do you got, Jason? I'm excited about that.
Yes, I had many options I could have chose from. Obviously, I just purchased the Eagle 17, but that could be a flex. Pappies, everyone does the Pappy with the raffle. I've seen most people get raffles for the Pappies and with the jewels and everything.
I ain't getting Pappies.
Well,
I'm not lucky enough.
But a lot of people can get the Pappies. But the one bottle I chose, it's very hard to come by, even from the allocated side of it. And I like to drop my nuts on with this bottle, and it's the Russell's 13.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
I was able to score last year's inaugural batch, and I got this year's batch. This is 2022's batch. So I got to do a side by side of both of them, and this is one of the best bourbons you'll have. So because it's highly allocated to get. Most stores get like 1 or 2 bottles, 3 maybe at the most, and if you're lucky to get one, it's a good one to flex on.
So maybe I'm going to spoil some future thing? Did you like this year's better than last year's? I haven't had this year's yet. I'm gonna come over soon and we're gonna try it. But
we did the tasting of it, and I still have to go back to last year's batch. Is my favorite still.
okay, I remember that was so damn good. I remember sitting in your basement just having the time of my life with just a bottle or just a little dram that you poured, and I was like, this
we did a side by side tasting a couple weeks ago, me and Sarah, and at first we both agreed that this year's batch was like slightly better, but then we went back a couple times, and I think we both agreed that the 21 batch is kind of like sneaks at the end, and you're just like, oh, it gives a nice finish, and so,
right.
but still a great one.
I'll be excited to try that.
Yeah, shout out to HBIC for sending me over a little bit of a little dram here to enjoy. So I haven't cracked it open yet.
He found me a very nice Bourbon County Stout, the Old Forester finished one.
Oh, okay.
So that was his finder's fee for picking up that bottle for me.
That's a good deal. I like that. I like that trade. Good job, IL. My answer, and it's a bottle once again that you helped me get, Jason. Ooh. It's the Willet Purple Top. It's crazy what this bottle did to me. I had it, and I had a moment with it. I said that yesterday about the barrel seagrass, but this is a completely different thing. I mean, I don't think I didn't mark this explicit, so I probably shouldn't say what it did to me, but it was amazing. And it's so hard to find. I haven't seen them ever, other than like crazy liquor stores that want, thousands of dollars or up to $1,000 for it. And I'm keeping this. Obviously, you guys are welcome to come over and try it and stuff like that. But I'm going to hold on to this thing. I'm even nervous just putting this on this pedestal. So I'm going to keep it back here. And I'm going to try to save it and only open it on special occasions because it's something that I'll cherish. I'll literally cherish forever. So
and I want to throw an honorable mention for your special occasion bottle, and that was the Gatsby Reserve, which didn't survive my wedding.
It did not survive. It didn't survive the pre-wedding. So I will say, you did. You helped me get it. So we said bottles are meant to be shared. They're meant to be drank. They're meant to be for special occasions. So I brought 5 bottles to your wedding. None of them lasted the night, and it was awesome. So we did the Gatsby's Reserve. We did BRTO2. I did blend. my poor man's Pappy. E.H. Taylor single barrel, and then what was the last one? I don't remember, but it was a whole lot of bourbon.
There was a whole lot of bourbon.
There was a whole lot of bourbon and whiskey being drank, but that's what you're supposed to do. I don't like when people, all of these bottles we shared, they're all cracked, they're all drank, they're supposed to be drunk. So, dude, I had no qualms about bringing that over to your wedding because I wanted to. Or like that's what we were supposed to be doing.
That was good stuff. I appreciate it.
So that wraps up the 5 bottles you need. That wraps up day 6 of the 12 days of whiskey. We mentioned it, John. You and I plan on doing some whiskey content in the upcoming year. Jason, of course, we got something special planned for the last 2 days of 12 days of whiskey, and we have more stuff planned for the YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for that. Jason might be yelling at clouds, might be ranting at some different things. And then, as always, the Bumcast, 9 p.m. Monday nights. We got some guests on this week. We got guests lined up for January. It's always a fun time. But for now, I'm going to cheers to you guys. Appreciate it. And then I'll see everyone again tomorrow for another drink. There we go. Yeah, let me get some of that one. I'll trade you. Thanks, John.
Cheers, y'all.